Greetings, friends, and welcome to Captain Samuel's Uphill Runs with the Buddy. Happy Pride Month, everybody. Today we're taking a look at Never Say You Can't Survive, How to Get Through Tough Times by Making Up Stories by Charlie Jane Anders. Normally when I do a book review, I do the review pretty quickly after I finish the book. This one was rich. It had a lot of content. I finished it about 2 weeks ago and spent the past 2 weeks just thinking about all the content in it. And so this book is about how to create realities that are authentic and meaningful to you. When the world, oh shit. When the world around you does stuff like that, knocks over your camera on a mountaintop. I really appreciated this book because I'm a combat veteran, a disabled combat veteran, and so those experiences have really changed me, and so I don't see the world around me the same way as people who haven't had my kind of extreme experiences. And writing stories for me has been a way for me to express what's difficult to express through rational thought. And so I come up with these stories to try to describe what war is like, describe the costs of war. Imagine a society where people take responsibility if they go to war and care for the warriors when they return. Charlie Jane Anders isn't a veteran, but I can relate to her. She's a trans woman, male to female, and she describes in the book always kind of being an outcast, kind of wandering around on the playground by herself, not really interacting with anybody, having learning disabilities. And one of the ways that her teachers kind of got through to her was having her make up stories and write plays, and that kind of became the way that she communicated with the outside world. And she talks about society wanting trans people to just disappear and scapegoating them for all of our problems. And so her books imagine worlds where trans people are treated with dignity, care, and respect. Her books imagine worlds where trans people are heroes in their stories. And what that does is, one, is it's soothing for her. Two, it also creates a new reality. Writing books, and she talks about this, writing books are like magic because they imagine new realities beyond what's possible. They imagine worlds where combat veterans are treated with care and respect, and war isn't launched for just shits and giggles by the rich and powerful. Books and stories imagine worlds where people that are different, trans and everyone else, are treated with care and respect. So that's the gist of what the book is about. Now, it also gets into a lot of nitty-gritty particulars of writing techniques. For example, one of the things that I really appreciated this book talking about is how powerful writing weird stories can be. Now, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know I gravitate towards weird stories. Ant on my hand. And I also write a lot of weird stories. I was just talking with my buddy Sam over at Barely Human about just how weird he thought my second book was, and he thought, maybe I'd be offended by that, but I took it as a compliment, because there's this idea that society, the world we live in, is sane. It makes sense. Its rules are consistent. It plays by its own rules. But if you're someone on the outside looking in, poor combat veteran, trans person, you realize those rules are arbitrary, they're contradictory, and they don't make a lot of sense. And so what you can do then is write about just how ridiculous reality really is. Write about how nonsensical a lot of these double standards for people are. And I really like that about this book in particular. I bookmarked a couple quotes in this that I found particularly powerful, and I just want to share some of them with you now. I'm excited to explore the notion that doing magic requires you to focus your intent. You only have power if you can figure out what you want and can express your wishes clearly. This in turn requires people to admit what they actually want and to believe that they deserve to have it. The unreal can be a saving grace. It's painful to have to pretend that the world makes sense, especially when doublespeak has become mainstream discourse. The first thing oppressors want to do is constrain your sense of what's possible, and a truly odd piece of art can loosen the stays of your corset, allowing you to breathe freely. Weirdness also reminds us that we can be our authentic, outrageous selves without being smushed like a bug. And this final quote here demonstrates that Charlie Jane Anders has excellent taste in movies. My favorite moment in Star Crash, the low-budget Star Wars knockoff, comes when Christopher Plummer shouts in an operatic voice, "Imperial battleship, halt the flow of time." But long before the Emperor used this power against the evil Count Zarth Arn, every novelist already possessed this same capability. And then she goes on to talk about how you can work with time in your writing. But the fact that she liked Star Crash, okay in my book, that's for sure. That's a great movie. You should check it out. So that is Never Say You Can't Survive, How to Get Through Tough Times by Making Up Stories by Charlie Jane Anders. No notes, no critiques on this one. 5 stars, God tier. Got a lot out of it. If you're a fellow indie author like me, please check it out. And at some point, I want to check out some of her work as well, because she is a science fiction fantasy author herself. Thanks for watching. Hope you're doing well.